Reba here. Welcome back to Gooseberry Homestead. So I went ahead and I cleaned up all of those trees and bushes that I acquired the other day. It was a really awesome find to be able to find a few like discounted items as well as a whole lot of free items being tossed out. And I'm really surprised by one of them that was tossed out because besides the fact that being super tall, it's actually in not that bad of shape, but the lower branches really made it look ugly and not desirable. So I'll show you the overall shape right now. Don't mind the buckets behind. I will be moving these out of the way sometime in the near future, who knows when. I got a lot on my plate. So they're right here for now. But so here's the first free one that I picked up, and the drupes are drupes are the fruit on the Cornelian Cherry. So the label said it's a Cornus moss variegata, and I guess that's supposed to mean that it's a variegated Cornelian cherry. Some of the leaves have turned these red colors, which is not normally, I think, what you normally would see. You see some of them are a little bit more red. Hi, baby. And so these ones on this particular one are going to turn red. However, since I have drupes on a lot of the limbs, I was holding off trimming away some of the branches. So I'll wait until winter to do any more pruning on it, because I really want it to like bush out next year. And so I'm looking for really good growth. So I'll show you the fruit. We've got a few drupes here, but for the most part they are this oblong shape like this. Here's a red one right here, and this one's a little bit pruny looking, so you can kind of see how the fruit looks. And then I've got some more on the branches right here. And so it looks really good. I trimmed off all of the dead branches and any branches that were facing downward. By mistake, I did cut a couple of branches that had some drupes on it by mistake. But that was only maybe 2 or 3 pieces of fruit. And since there's not a whole lot of fruit on these ones right now, it's not like a huge loss, so it's fine. This one right here, the tall skinny one, this is the one I purchased, and I was looking at some damage down here, and I didn't notice that at the nursery. I knew that the berries were all messed up. So here are the drupes on this one. Here, let me see if I can move these leaves. And you can see how the fruit's all messed up. I think this Cornelian Cherry did a lot of falling over. And so, yeah. So this is how it's looking. There is actually quite a bit of fruit drupes on it for the size that it is. But it's pretty much just a column right now. And there's some damage to the bark down here where you can actually see the center. So you can see that right there. I'm not really happy about seeing that, but that's after the fact. I already knew I was kind of buying a beaten up one. I think I got 40% off on this one. But I didn't know I was going to find free cherry trees after I'd already purchased it. I probably could have gone in and returned it right away, and they probably would have been okay with it. So as you can see, these ones are both a red variety, and the drupes are this oblong color. Now, last year in the fall, I found some of the Cornelian cherry trees on the military base, and they actually had more of this shape of drupe that's on this Cornelian cherry. So they were more of just like a little oval and less of an oblong teardrop. Like these other ones are like more of a teardrop. These ones are more like just like this. Now, I'm noticing a color difference between these ones, and I'll get really close so you can see. And the color on these ones look way different than these ones over here. And I'm wondering if this is a fava, a Cornelian Cherry fava, which is the yellow Cornelian Cherry. So I will be watching it. The favas are supposed to like mature in August, and these ones look like they're getting close. I mean, I kind of squish on them. There's a little bit of give, but I'll just be keeping an eye on it for sure. And if it is a yellow Cornelian Cherry, this is definitely the one I'm going to be keeping. Now this one is super tall. I had to like reach up really high. It is at least 6 feet tall, maybe a little bit more. And so I've already topped them. I trimmed off the tops, and just to I'll probably, after the fruit drops, I'll probably lower it to like about here on each side and take off the more off the top. The Cornelian cherries are primarily a slow growing tree. So I thought there was more of these Cornelian cherries that I grabbed, but it was just these two that I got for free, and then the one that's more green in the middle is the one I purchased, of course. But this one is not so bad looking either once I got all of the underneath part all cleaned up. And then this beauty is I cannot remember how to pronounce the name. Albina? I'm not sure. But it has these really pretty. I found the name, and one of my friends helped me locate it, but it's called Pink Albina or something like that, or Ambella. I'm not sure, but it is a shrub, and it's really pretty. I apologize for the fighting in the background. I have no control over that. And then right here is the so the other ones that I cleaned up here are also, there's three. There's this one, and then this one. These ones are also in the dogwood family, as is the Cornelian cherries. These are also in the dogwood family. And so I had picked up 3 more dogwood family members. So this one here in this little pot, this one was the Midwinter Fire. So this one will get loads of really bright red foliage that will grow with time. So it's all trimmed down. It had previously been trimmed down at the nursery, but it just never made a recovery. So these ones, once you plant them in the ground, can actually be cut down really like 6 inches short, and every year it puts up new growth. And so it's a real vigorous grower. So and then those new twigs become like this fire color in the middle of winter. So it adds a lot of really great contrast to your landscape. So this is a really cool one, and it's in a kind of a small pot, so who knows. We'll see. Maybe I'll be able to sell it next year or something like that, or maybe I can get some cuttings off of it. We'll just wait and see how it goes. But I do want it to pull through and look way better than what it looks right now. And then this one right here, let me see what the label says. This one is called Autumn Rose. And so I think because we've had such strange weather this year that even I've noticed in my own garden, a lot of the leaves have tried to turn fall colors, and they're turning fall colors before like July. And so a lot of my plants kept thinking we were going back into winter months, going into fall. And so their leaves have been changing all throughout the summer. So I think this one thought that it was becoming fall because of our cold weather we've been having. And so these are more of the fall color that you would see. And down here is some new growth with super bright green. So that should be what the whole plant looks like. But I cleaned this one up as well, and it looks really nice. I can't remember what colors the flowers are, but they look like the typical dogwood flower that you normally would see, that stereotype of dogwood flower. But the leaves are really beautiful, and it's really interesting. It's not a very bushy bush. A lot of the images you're going to find online for the autumn rose are a lot fuller and a lot more lush looking. This one's really sparse and kind of scraggly, as I think many things look like that when you buy them from nurseries and such. So at least sometimes. But this one was a free one, so I've got it staked, I've got it tied to pull the branch in a little bit more because it was way far off. So I'm pulling it in a little bit more and to create a little bit more compact feel to the plant. And then this one right here also, I think, is something in the autumn category. Let me see. This one is autumn gold. So we got autumn rose on this side, and this one's autumn gold. So this one has like the rosy leaves, and this one has more of like a golden tone. And so that's how it's looking. And I saw somebody else's video the other day, and while this is just a an old looking leaf, if you notice on the dogwood, all the lines from the center part here that start, they all come down to the tip. I never noticed that before. So whenever you're looking at leaves on a tree, you can just kind of like look to see how the veins go. And on the dogwoods, they all come back to the tip, like come down. So I thought that was really, really interesting. So now I kind of know what to look for on the trees. I would love to go back onto the base and get some more of those Cornelian cherries this year in the fall that are kind of like these. But I think these ones might be the yellow variety. And that would be so exciting if they are. I keep coming back to that. Now this one did not have a label, this plant. And the main stick that was grafted on, you guys, I do not believe it has made it. This whole thing is pretty much dead. So I'm using it as a stake, basically. And the graft actually started growing. And I don't know what this is, but I think that is a type of maple. And so, and I'd have to look at maple leaves, but I think there's a type of maple that has this shape. And I think it is. But it's really healthy from the graft. So I figured, why not let it grow? And so I've pulled in the limb a little bit, and I used a pencil and some yarn, and I'm like pulling it over and using this as a stake to make this go upright. So it's not acting like, a branch, but turning this into like a main leader. So that's how that's looking. And then I also cleaned up, and I'll have to walk around. I've been cleaning up the other plants, and here is this one here, the Trumpet Creeper. So I got a lot of the foliage cleaned off down below. It looks so much nicer. And then I left the tag on it, and I don't know if this set flowers this year, but it surely did not set any like seed pods, that's for sure. So I may hold on to this one and enjoy it while we're renting, and then when we get ready to move, possibly sell it. So it looks really good, and I really like it. I think it's really interesting. So yeah, so that's really cool. And then I went ahead and I just have the variegated basil over here. And then I planted those raspberries over here, and I kept one. And those were those raspberries that I had, the thimbleberry raspberries. I planted those into the corner, but I did keep one stalk with two that came off of the roots from over here on accident. Those ones aren't rooted, but I stuck them in the ground. Maybe they'll root. But I did keep one that has a root section in the container with the black polar berry, or white polar berry blackberry. It's so weird to say that. It's such an oxymoron. And then right here, I planted the clover, and I wanted to make sure I put the stake back in here. And I'm crushing my, oops, I forgot to take that off. Before I did my errands, I crushed my whorehound. All right. So this is the ground cover, which is the emerald carpet. I need to give everything a good water this evening. And let's stick that in here somehow. There we go. So it's the emerald carpet, and so it'll have like a little yellow berry on it, and these will set roots down into the ground, and it'll just cover the top part of the pot down at the base there. And so that's in that pot with my boysenberry. I had a good amount of room around this particular berry, and so I figured I'd go ahead and use the top space for this bramble, and it's a low-lying ground cover bramble, so that's really cool looking. And it actually does have thorns. I didn't think it did. The guy was like, oh, you can walk on it and it'll be fine. Just don't walk barefoot on it, you guys, because it does have little tiny thorns, and they could poke you if you're super sensitive. So I got a mess over here because I was sitting over here today doing stuff. But I put the polar black raspberry, or blackberry, white blackberry, polar berry. I put that one in here, and on this side right here is the other little parts to the thimbleberry, the red thimbleberry. So I put that there, and then I just have to move it back into the corner. And then I cleaned up the cosmos right here. And these are chocolate cosmos, and I cleaned all the dying or used up blossoms off and left the other ones, and I have new blossoms coming on. There's little buttons down here, you can see right here, little buttons. And then these actually have like a slight cocoa, like almost a hint of chocolate smell to them, but you have to get your nose really close. But they're this really beautiful like burgundy red color, and with like a chocolate like tone, like a chocolate tone to it. I wouldn't say they're definitely I would not classify them as a brown flower, but they're more like a deep red burgundy color. They're really pretty. So I put them in here. Thought that would look nice, just like a splash of color right in there. But it's still in their container from the nursery, and I think that's just fine. It's just fine to be like that. It's just an annual, so that's how it's looking. And then I harvested all of the white currants that was on here, and I think it says this one is called currant white. So Blanca is what I'm seeing down here. Yeah, Blanca. So we got the white currant, and so now I just have to put that into a pot. And so everything's looking pretty good, you guys. I am getting a few more of these blossoms for the honeysuckle, which is really great. We're getting a little bit of growth on the tea tree, which is really, really nice. I'm hoping that it'll branch out even more and grow really well. So that's how it's looking. Take you over to the greenhouse really fast. Oh, look at this. The red roses are opening. Gonna give them a good old sniff over, see how they smell. My son says these aren't real roses because they're not red. So he's got it in his mind, roses are red, you know, violets are blue. Hey, you know. So these should be fully open tomorrow. I've got at least 2 that should be open fully tomorrow, and then I'll give them a good smell, see how they smell. But then it's pretty much ready to take a picture of and sell, so I'm excited about that. And it takes a little while sometimes for the plants to come back whenever you're rescuing them. All right, so all the lemon verbena, you guys, is doing really, really good. I've got lots of new growth here on these cuttings as well. And look at that. That's just in the last 30 days or less since I did the cuttings in July. And it's almost as tall as it was before. regrowth. Looks amazing. And then down here is the snowbank, and the snowbank is a completely different variety. The guy who created the snowbank, name was Luther Burbank, I believe, and so this is off of one of his berry bushes, and they've cultivated and stabilized this particular one. So it's really good. It's looking really dark green, and we've got a lot of really great new growth coming down from the bottom down there, which is really excellent to see. So I'm hoping I'll see more from the other ones. And so that's really good. My lemon guavas are getting bigger on my guava here. The jujube is looking really good. The green leaves on the quince look really, really nice. I've got my air rooting going on here. Hopefully, God willing, these upper branches will set root so I can cut them off. That way I can cut off the damaged section of the quince tree. And I do have lower branches on the quince that will take the place of these upper branches once I cut off the damaged area. But I wanted to try to save as much as this tree as I possibly could, and I thought I might as well give it a shot. The greenhouse stays pretty warm during the day, so I should be able to get some rooting hopefully going on in here. This is my first time I've ever done this, so hopefully it works. It looks really sloppy how I did it. I'm very new at this, so please forgive me on that fact, but I'm not exactly sure how long it should take before roots start developing. And there's a lot of condensation on the inside of the bags, so it's really kind of hard to even see if there's, roots growing or anything like that. I don't know. So aside from seeing some of the guavas getting bigger here, and I'll zoom in so you can see, there's a couple right there, and then I've got some more right here, and there's some more back there. There's just a small handful of guavas, maybe 6 to 8 guavas on the tree. Who knows? There might be more. But that's how it's looking. This one's a lemon, and then this one's the Chilean strawberry guava on this side. And it looks like we do have some fruit developing here as well. These ones are fairly small. So we'll just have to watch it, and then it's spreading down at the base, so that's really exciting to see. And I need to pull this up because that's come off. It was up higher, and then everything else is looking pretty well. The borage is pretty much spent. It never looked that good after the aphids attacked it. So everything's looking good. Some things got a little bit dry in here the other day because anything on these top shelves kind of just gets too hot. But everything down on the bottom is pretty much okay. Don't really have any problems with the plants being directly on the bottom, and they seem to do okay with the heat up top once it gets hot. It's about 80 something degrees in maybe 81 degrees in the greenhouse right now, and during the day it was like up in the hundreds. And everything seems to be doing okay up top. The lemon verbena just loves it, and so does this Cape gooseberry. So they really like it a lot. So that's pretty much it, you guys. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Click that bell button. And as always, have a wonderful day. And God bless.